guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of working in home health. I've done a few videos about my home health journey and you guys had a lot of questions, especially about home health. So I decided to put this quick video together to tell you guys the detailed pros and cons of working in home health. So if you would like to know more about working in home health, then please stay tuned for this video. Okay guys, welcome back. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'd like to say welcome. My name is Mercy. I am a BSN RN, and on this channel I talk about nursing, lifestyle, beauty. I do a little bit of vlogging and I talk about a little bit of everything. So if you would like to join my family, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and also hit the bell notification button so that way you'll never miss another video from me again. And for my return viewers, I'd like to say welcome back. So let's get into the video. As a lot of you guys know, I recently returned to work, but I didn't go back to the hospital. I went to home health. So as for now, I am working in home health. I've also done a few videos about my home health journey, and you guys wanted to know a little more about home health. So I just wanted to make a pros and cons. That way I'll be answering a whole bunch of questions in one video. So first I will start with the cons and then we'll head into the pros. So one negative thing about working in home health is the fact that you are working by yourself. So working in home health is different from the hospital in the sense that at the hospital you're working with a whole bunch of people. So you have the charge nurse, you have your manager, you have your colleagues, you have everybody there on site that you can ask for help or ask any questions. Home health, on the other hand, when you get sent out to a patient's home, you are by yourself. Not saying that you don't have access to those same people like the charge nurse or the manager or something like that, but the difference is that you have to make a phone call versus just walking up to them. You have to make a phone call and wait for them to answer. If they answer, great, but if they don't, then you have to look for another method to answer your question. So that is one thing a lot of people get intimidated by when they think about working in home health. Another thing that people are afraid about is sketchy neighborhood. So with home care, you can get sent to a lot of different neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods are really nice and some neighborhoods are not so nice. So a lot of people think, what do I do if I get sent into a bad neighborhood? First of all, you can choose to go where you want to go, but the truth is, yes, sometimes you will get sent to bad neighborhoods. I know I went on a case once in a neighborhood. I didn't know much about the neighborhood. That was my first time hearing about it and going there. As soon as I got there, there was a whole bunch of fire trucks and police cars and a whole bunch of people outside. Apparently someone had just got shot. It wasn't at my patient's house, but it was in the same neighborhood. It was actually on the same street as my patient's house. I got really nervous. I was really scared. So I called the agency and told them I wasn't comfortable staying to do that visit. Lucky for me, the visit was a recertification visit, which means that the patient just needed to be recertified in order to continue to get their home care visits. And the recertification has a certain amount of time, so you can have up to a week to do it. So since I wasn't able to do it that day, someone was able to go back and do that visit in order to recertify the patient. But I just say all of that to say you have a choice. If you get assigned to a patient, you have the choice to say, I don't want to go to that neighborhood. Or when you do get there and something starts to pop off, you can easily call your agency and say that you're not comfortable and you can leave. But that is one big negative about working in home health, because you never know where you're going to get sent. I've been sent to beautiful, rich neighborhoods where the houses make you feel like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? And then you go to other neighborhoods and you're even afraid to get out of your car. So that is one con that a lot of people don't like about home health. Another big one is that a lot of times home care does not have benefits. So unless you're working directly through a hospital for their home care, as a home health nurse, you're going to work with agencies, and those agencies are going to offer you a little bit higher pay per hour versus the hospital. But on the downside, there are no benefits. So there are no pay time off, there are no vacations, there are no medical, 401k, sick leave, nothing. There's nothing like that. So the way they compensate you is usually by either paying you a lot more or paying for your gas. So when people ask me the question, does home health nurses get paid more? The short answer to that is yes, they do get paid more, but there's a lot more that goes into why they get paid more than a typical nurse would get paid. Now let me clarify that. A nurse working at the hospital who's been there for, let's say, I don't know, 40 years is going to make a lot more than a new nurse or a nurse working in home health, because you get paid by your experience. So every year you're gonna get a pay raise. So let's say a new nurse gets hired in the hospital and starts out making, I don't know, $25 an hour. Working that same position, another nurse can get paid up to $50 an hour because they've been there way longer than you have. Same with home care. So just because I say nurses get paid more in home care, I'm only comparing that with a new nurse who's going into the hospital versus the same nurse working in home care. So another thing that is a negative about working in home care is, as we all know, a lot of people are allergic to animals or afraid of animals. I know for me, I was attacked by a dog when I was little, so that traumatized me, and therefore for the longest time I've been afraid of dogs. I'm getting better. I feel like I've become desensitized to it because now I can be in the same place or in the same room with a dog, but before I couldn't even do it. Just the mere sight of a dog sends me into a panic attack, but it's gotten better. So that was one thing I was worried about going into home health. Some people are afraid of cats. Some people are allergic to cats. So that is a negative, and that is something that concerns a lot of people. In that case, you can always tell your agency, if you're afraid of dogs, you can tell them not to send you to a client that has dogs. If you're afraid of cats, same thing applies. But if you have too many allergies and too many fears and too many, I don't know, taboo, then the amount of places that you can get sent get limited. So you only have a limited amount of where you can go, because last time I checked, everybody and their grandparents have pets these days. So that's just something to look into. Another thing that someone asked me was, what about family member? So this is a negative about working in home care, especially when you do shift work. So a lot of times you go to take care of a patient in their home, but there is family members living in that home. So it can be the patient's son or the patient's daughter or the patient's kids and their wives and kids, or the patient's caregiver, or just somebody living in that home. And sometimes there can be a lot of drama. I've been through this before. With my 5 to 6 years of working in home care, I feel like I've seen it all. So sometimes the family members can be crazy, not towards you, maybe towards each other, where they're fighting, they're fist fighting or verbally fighting or just abusing each other, or sometimes they can be really rude to you. And sometimes some of those family members may try to hit on you. So that is something that concerns a lot of people. If this is something that you're uncomfortable with, I would say if you go into a home and you notice that there is tension or you feel unsafe, get out of there as soon as possible. Or if someone's coming on to you, whether you're a guy and a woman is doing it to you, or you're a woman and a guy is doing it to you, did that make sense? Anyways, get out of there as soon as possible, because first of all, nurses, you're not supposed to have any sexual relations with your patients anyways. And secondly, let's say for some reason the family members don't like you. Staying there is only going to make it worse, and remember, you have a license to protect. So as soon as you sense anything at all, get out of there as soon as possible. This though does not happen a lot. It only happens a small amount of time, because a lot of these family members are so happy and so grateful that you are there to help them. Because imagine having a sick kid or a sick mom or dad or something like that. It's very stressful for that family member. So they are appreciative when someone comes to relieve some of that stress for them. So this rarely happens, but it does happen. So last but not least, on the negative, one thing that concerns a lot of people about working in home health is the drive time. So especially if you're doing visits. With visits, instead of doing an 8-hour shift like the hospital where you drive your car, park it, go do your 12 hours, come back and drive home. In home care, if you do 12 hours, that usually means that you're driving to 12 different homes. So you drive to one home, do your visit, that counts as 1 hour. You drive to another. This is only for visits. But if you're doing shift work, then it doesn't matter. You can do one long shift, which you can have up to 12 hours, or you can do short shifts here and there, anywhere from 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever. So the drive time bothers a lot of people because they're like, I don't want to be in the car a lot. There's a lot of driving and it's risky, because the more you're in a car, the more your chances of having an accident increases. Although that is the case, but again, it is your choice. Do you want to do visits or do you want to do shift work? It is all up to you, but a lot of people have concerns about their cars as well, because it can cause a lot of wear and tear on your car. It can increase the mileage. So those are all the things that concerns a lot of people. Okay, so now that we have talked about all the negative things about working in home health, let's move to my favorite part, the best parts of working in home care. So number one, just as I said that working by yourself can be intimidating, sometimes working by yourself is the best thing that can ever happen to you. It's almost like working for yourself, because number one, there are no bosses around, there are no supervisors, there are no nurses there trying to bully you. It's just you and your patients. Some people love that. I love that, because working in the hospital, I have learned that a lot of times there is politics, and there are little cliques, and there are little groups, and there are little gossip crews. There are just so many things going on. There's a lot of kissing butt, excuse my language, but there's just a lot that goes on when you're working with a group of people. So some people like working by themselves, because that way you are more comfortable providing the utmost care for your patients. So that is one big pro of working in home care. Another pro, just as I said before with the con, is the pay. You get paid more as a home care nurse because they are trying to compensate you for driving from one place to another and also not having benefits. So for example, again, if we have two new nurses, one works at the hospital and one works for a home health agency. The nurse working at the hospital may get started out at $25 an hour, but the nurse at the home care agency may get up to $35, even $40 an hour. Why? Because they have no benefits, but they get compensated better. So if you have a spouse or a family member or somebody that has benefits like healthcare and stuff like that, that is perfect, because then you can be on their insurance and then still make a lot of money. So that is one thing to look into if you're going into home care. Another thing that I love about working in home care is, to me, it's not boring, because you're doing a lot of different things and you're meeting a lot of different people. For me, I hate doing the same things over and over. I like a little bit of a change. So I, for example, like to meet an Indian family, learn a little bit about India, meet a Japanese family, learn a little bit about them, and then meet different people, because the more people you meet, the more you get to learn and the more experienced you are. So that is one thing I love about working in home care. Not to say that you don't get to meet a lot of different people at the hospital, but I feel like when people are in their home, they are in their own elements, and that's where they are more real, because you get to see their culture, you get to see their foods, you get to see how they live with each other, see how they interact with each other, what's important to them, and just things like that. So I enjoy that. So that's one of the best things, because you can go from administering insulin to this patient, to inserting a Foley catheter, to doing a G-tube dressing, to doing tube feeds. I mean, you can do a little bit of everything, and it keeps you on your feet. And secondly, you're not sitting in the same place over and over. You're driving around and getting some fresh air and running your errands in between. So that is one thing I love about working in home care. Another pro about working in home health, I think, is the fact that it is very flexible and very convenient. Again, when you work a 12-hour shift in the hospital, that is your whole day. So you go in, let's say 6:30 in the morning, you usually don't get back home till about 8 at night. And by the time you get home, you are done. You haven't seen your family. You haven't done anything for yourself. Home care, on the other hand, you can do 12 hours, but you can go back to your house if you're not seeing a patient during that visit. You can go to the grocery store. You can go work out for 30 minutes or an hour, take a quick shower, get dressed, go back and see your patients. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff in between. This is only if you're doing visits. If you're doing shift, that's another story. But as I said, it's very flexible and it's very convenient. In that same order, another great thing about working home care is the flexibility. So you can basically act like your own boss. You can make your own schedule. So you can choose if you want to do visits and do all your visits in 1 to 2 days for the week, or you can spread them out throughout the week where you're only working in the mornings and you have your evening off, or you're working in the evenings and have your mornings off. Whatever way you want to do it, it is all up to you. I love that aspect, because especially for me being a new mom, that is very helpful for me, because I can stay with the baby all day, during the week, and then in the evening time when her father gets home, or if her grandma takes over, I can go and do as many visits as I need to, or I can do it over the weekend. So that is one of the biggest pros, especially for me, working in home care. Secondly, you can work as many hours as you want. Working in home care, there's a lot less burnout, which means you're not doing the same thing over and over and over and over and just, feeling burnout. So guys, that is it for this pros and cons video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below so you'll join my family. And also, if you guys were wondering where I got this necklace from, this is an African map necklace. It's very beautiful. I got it from Nabiu Collections. I will leave a link down below so you guys can go and take a look at the site and see if you find something you like. If you have any comments, any questions for me, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section below. I love interacting with you guys and I always do my best to answer your comments. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.